time they were talking about themselves, ladies and gentlemen, and the tears are flowing. The tears are flowing. Now let's get into like kind of the specifics of what actually happened today, right? And then we're going to go through a couple of other video clips because things could get a little confusing. Wait a minute, there's a victory. Technically, yes, birthright citizenship is over with, but it's still in the Constitution. They didn't rule on the merits of it. What's really going on, TV? Okay, well, let me help you with this understanding, right? So let's come over here first. Let me move this video off the screen. We're going to come into this article. So Trump's major win in birthright citizenship case as Supreme Court curbs nationwide injunctions. So what does that mean? Well, here's what this means, right? And I strongly suggest you guys to start doing this as well. Remember when people used to say, Google is your friend? Well, ladies and gentlemen, AI is your friend. Okay, and I'm gonna start doing this more often after I read these articles, and just have the AI, run me a quick summary breakdown so that we can really be more succinct with understanding what's actually happening. Yes, AI is your friend. So here are the key takeaways. Supreme Court 6-3. The court decided that lower federal courts likely lack authority to issue nationwide injunctions to block executive actions across the board, marking a significant win for President Trump. Case at issue. The ruling stems from legal challenges to Trump's executive order 14160 issued January 20th of 2025, which redefined birthright citizenship, restricting it to children born to at least one U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Multiple district courts had blocked that order nationwide. Can somebody please explain to me what's wrong with that? That just sounds like common sense. He said at least one of the parents has to be a citizen. How is that a bad thing? How is that a negative thing? Right? This is not supposed to be a get out of jail free pass for those who are illegal and they have children together in this country. When the man and the woman are illegal, they give birth to a child in this country, but the child gets to be a citizenship. And then they want to use that as a get out of jail free pass and say, oh my God, you can't deport me because it's family separation. No. This was never meant to be a get out of jail free pass. Right? That's not what that was for. And I believe that Trump is being very fair when he's saying at least one parent has to be a citizen. Come on, man, at least one, right? Remember when Joe Biden used to say that? Come on, man. Come on, man. At least one parent has to be a citizen, right? And then you have what's called, I believe it's called birther tourism. Many of you have heard of this. It's something that I've actually heard about for a long time, where it's not just illegal immigrants that partake in this, right? Those who come here legally, literally from all over the world, they will literally come to America just to have their child born here and become an American citizen, and then they'll take their child back to China or whatever country that they came from, right? That's what they'll do. So once again, that puts an end to all of this. How can anyone in their right mind think and feel that that's okay? For people of other nations. And this is, once again, we're not talking about illegal immigrants anymore. We're just talking about those who come here legally. So you have a family who comes here legally, and you're just allowed to give birth here, and your child just becomes a citizen, and then you fly back off to Iran, right? You fly back off to wherever you came from. Excuse me? How is that right? It's not. It's just common sense. Now let's carry on. Where was I at? Scope of decision. The Supreme Court did not rule on whether or not the order itself is constitutional or not. Instead, it limited judicial reach, saying courts should only enjoin government actions for specific plaintiffs, not universally. Majority opinion authored by Justice Amy Coney Barrett. The opinion emphasized that legal relief must adhere to who has standing. Nationwide injunctions, she noted, have no grounding in the Judiciary Act of 1789. Dissenting views. Liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Who cares what they think? Let's move on. I really don't care what they have to say because we all know it's foolishness. We don't have to read what Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, women who don't know what a woman is, have to say. If you can't tell me what a woman is, I'm not really interested in anything else that you're talking about, if I can be completely frank. But in a nutshell, yes, currently as it stands, as we speak, birthright citizenship is over. So we have right now, there are DNC lunatics all across blue states breaking their neck right now,
It's a good
making phone
question, brother
calls,
man.
filing
I don't know.
paperwork, and just bending over backwards in order
I
to
don't put
make
nothing
sure
past
that
them.
they can still maintain birthright citizenship in their specific state. But then here's where the confusion begins to lie. The same way that I can buy a certain type of firearm in Texas, right? I can purchase a certain type of firearm in Texas, completely legal, got my permit, so on and so forth. I can have that there, but I can't cross over state lines in California with it because that same firearm is not legal
Mm-hmm.
in California, right? And that
More for
permit
that.
doesn't transfer to California.
Yep.
So now,
More
with
for
that being
that.
said,
Yep.
if you're born in California, because we're ran by DNC lunatics, so birthright citizenship still stands here. They filed the necessary paperwork and did whatever lawsuits they have to do to make sure it stands here. Does the citizenship of that child transfer over to Texas?
Mm.
Or are you just restricted here as it pertains to being a citizen in California? It's very interesting. I don't know how this is all going to work out. So while Democrats are currently scrambling, trying to figure things out, shuffling through paperwork, making their phone calls, trying to file lawsuits, so on and so forth, to see what they can do to stop things, slow it down, make sure that it's legal, at least in blue states, it appears that there's going to be a little confusion in the early stages of how all this actually works,
Um,
right? And that's what they're going to
I'm
discuss
from
here in this MSNBC
And
video
brother
that I'm going
man,
to play next. So let's
California is not
enjoy
going to give you a
those some
gun
tears.
permit.
There's going to be a little bit more tears in this video too, as we listen to their confusion and
California's not gonna give
frustration.
you a gun.
So let's get into this MSNBC video
No,
now.
it's not. The last gun permit they issued was in 1960.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in Lisa Rubin. You just pulled it up. What are we learning? We're learning today that the court, by a 6-3 majority, Anna, has decided to stay the injunctions partially. They're saying that they will grant the government's application for stays, but only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff with standing to sue. And let me go back a second, zoom out for a second if I can. One of the questions here was, if the court was going to stay these injunctions, how were they going to do it? Were they going to say that each injunction could only apply in the district where it was entered? In two cases here, those districts were actually statewide, the District of New Jersey, the District of Massachusetts. But the other question was, or could you limit it to just the plaintiffs in these particular cases? Remember that 2 of these 3 cases are brought by states. So how this changes that result, what does it mean then when the individual plaintiffs who have standing to sue are states? Does that mean that we're going to get sort of a patchwork result, as one of the attorneys general, Matt Platkin of New Jersey, described to me in an interview earlier this year? Does that mean that citizenship could be conferred solely by an accident of birth? And he described to me a situation where a citizen or a resident of his state gives birth over a state line in Pennsylvania, for example. What happens if a New Jersey resident gives birth in Pennsylvania? New Jersey is a plaintiff to these cases. Pennsylvania is not. If the child to 2 undocumented immigrants is born in Pennsylvania, what is the result with respect to that person's citizenship? These are a bunch of questions that are now going to result. But at the very least, we are going to see a circumstance where the president's executive order curtailing birthright citizenship is going to effectively be allowed to be implemented in certain states, but not in others.
So that's where the confusion's gonna kind of start to lie, and we're gonna have to figure these things out, right? Just like I can't cross state lines with certain firearms that I might buy in Texas and bring them here to California. Does your citizenship, are you able to cross state lines with that? Can you take that from California to Arizona and your citizenship is still honored? Or, will ICE be waiting for you once you cross state lines? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. Things are going to get most likely a lot more confusing too. But the only thing that matters is that right now in this moment, birthright citizenship is over. But I mean, once again, Trump's being reasoned. That just makes logical sense. Let's get into what Trump had to say next. I want to play this clip where Trump took a moment to speak on this monumental, groundbreaking decision that came down from the Supreme Court. And shout out to the Supreme Court for doing the right thing.
Some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now properly file to proceed with these numerous policies, and those have been wronged on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and important to say.
Once again, this isn't just a ruling, right? Let me take this down and put this back on screen. That's just kind of in favor of birthright citizenship. But when you unpack it, let me zoom in here. We're talking about ending birthright citizenship, ending funding for sanctuary cities, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary federal funding, stopping taxpayer funds for trans surgeries. So I want to highlight that area right here, ending funding for sanctuary cities.
Exactly. The people that keep bringing over here,
Democrats are scrambling right now, scrambling. So now as we close this video out, I just want to put a little icing on this cake here. Right?
Okay, thank you, Michael.
I want to put a little icing on this cake. TD, what do you mean by that?
No,
did you guys hear about this? Give me just a second.
Of the refugees.
Boom.
We know they're here.
Guess who's going to the Sudan?
Refugees are not the same.
Guess who's going to the Sudan? Federal prosecutors tell a judge they will deport Kilmar Abrigo Garcia to a third country after detention. Okay.
Oh, God.
I guess you can't go back to El Salvador. I guess we can't send you over there.
Send his ass to the Sudan.
You definitely can't
Better yet, send him to
the Sudan is ready and willing to take to it. We're not going to go too deep into this, man. But look, federal prosecutors on Thursday told the judge that the Trump administration will begin removal proceedings against Kilmar Abrigo Garcia to deport him, to deport him a country other than his native El Salvador if he is released from a Tennessee jail. So currently, right now, he's in Tennessee jail. If he's released from a Tennessee jail, we're going to snatch him up immediately. And off to the Sudan you go, my friend. Okay. Either way this works out, either way this goes, either you're gonna spend a significant amount of time in jail when you get found guilty, because I believe that he will get found guilty on those, I believe it's trafficking charges, and you're never going to step foot or walk around on American soil again. If you're gonna walk around on any soil, it might not be American soil, might not be El Salvadorian soil, but it'll most likely be Sudanese soil. Okay, and with all that being said, that does it for today's news. Shout out to the Sudan. Thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video.
We already covered that. If the country don't want you, if your home country don't want you back, then you're going to Sudan.
Yeah, Sudan would be the right place for him. It's warlike like hell, particularly the South Sudan.
Oh man, he's too soft to make it there. Gonna make it his own country right here.
He won't make it in the Sudan, Lady Che. Do you know how hot the Sudan gets?
100 and something degrees.
He couldn't hang over there. He's not gonna be able to hang over there. Oh man, they're making it hard for his ass. just going to prison or you just going over there? Like drop you off in the middle of the Sudan, like, hey, kick it over here with the Sudanese. Good luck. It's cold, cruel world out there. Bye. Or you go to prison. How does that work? Does the Sudan have prison for these people?
I guess. I don't know. I just know that he said if they're not going to take you in your home country, that you're going to Sudan.
Yeah. But I feel like he's just there.
They ain't gonna stay too long in the Sudan.
And look out there, cold, cruel world. These are killers.
No. The reason why they're not going to stay too long in the Sudan is because the Sudanese are not going to allow it.
Right.
They'll say,
Like
man,
right in
get
the
your
middle,
ass
right in the middle of
to the damn
They turn
you
around.
go, but you ain't from here.
Yeah.
We got us a slave. That's what I was saying. Susie, like, oh man, they shipped us a slave. What do we do to earn this? Get to work.
And I guess he had to find another country to go to. Sudan don't want him, and he has to go to another country.
Yeah. Why you do? What is
That
it?
motherfucker can go to hell for all I care, man. But the Sudan ain't gonna happen. I know that for a fact.
Drop them off. Draw on your gas money next time. Don't want to be asking. Just drop them off somewhere. That's what it sounds like you're gonna do anyway.
Yeah, if their home country don't want him.
Well, okay, so Maduro don't want them.
It's not Maduro.
What's his name?
Maduro is the president of Venezuela.
Oh, okay. Well, what the fuck is his name?
Bukele.
Kelly don't want to take him in his massive fucking prison that holds everybody in the goddamn mama.
No, he don't want him back.
One motherfucker you don't want back. Was he that much of a problem?
Yes,
Of all the fucking MS-13s there, he was the problem.
that's what they're saying.
That don't even make sense. You got like real serious killers there. You like burn your bitch in your house, fatal killers there. Terrorize whole neighborhoods all day, every day. Same neighborhood. Real killers. You got this soft trafficker, he's the problem.
The soft woman beating trafficker.
Soft woman beating trafficker. But he's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, out of sight, out of mind. Shave his head, give him a fucking tank top, some white shit, socks, and ass to cheek, man. Head to ass, like he does with all the other ones.
I mean,
They all look the
I
same
guess
after he shaves
technically
them.
he is, but Shabaki gonna argue to the death about that, brother, man.
After he shaves them, gives them a white t-shirt, some white shirts and socks, you look like everybody else.
They're here in the United States to give free goodies and giveaways.
Man.
Unearned free goodies and giveaways.
Oh, the take.
What's one place to ship them to?
Yeah, the
Maybe
take.
African immigrants and deport white Europeans back to Europe. In a perfect world, Michael,
They should.
they should do that, but this ain't that.
But either way,
Unfortunately.
they'll get privileges. And
No, man, what they need to do is take those white Europeans in South Africa and throw their asses out there in the middle of the Kalahari Desert.
They'll be all right.
Hell no, Musk ain't no goddamn African, man, and he ain't no U.S. citizen. He is a goddamn boar. That's son of a bitch, ain't no African.
Or that nobody punishes. So
He's a Boer, but technically he's a South African national.
He ain't no goddamn South African. Ask Mary McKeever.
I didn't say he was
Ask Kayla.
Shabaka. I'm not saying that he's an indigenous South African. I'm saying his paperwork says that he was. His passport says that he is. All his documentation says he's South African.
He's a rich homeless dude.
Okay, well, tell his ass to come out here and sit out here with me in this goddamn sun, man. It's going to be 116 degrees tomorrow.
Jumping around showing his fat son.
Yeah, he was born. Was he born in South Africa? I thought he was born in Canada.
Who cares where he's
No, I think his daddy was born in Canada, and then his daddy had went to Zambia before he was born under the apartheid regime.
So he was born in South Africa.
Under the apartheid regime.
So he's a South African national.
right.
No, he's a fucking Boer national. He is a Caucasoid. Okay.
I didn't say he was African, Shabaka. I'm just saying his nationality would be South African. Not his race, Shabaka. Not his race. Not his ethnicity. His nationality would be South African.
Man, that motherfucker's a bore, man.
He was born in South Africa, though, Shabaka. Bore or not, he was born in South Africa. Was he not? Was he not born in South Africa?
He is
okay. Him being a Boer doesn't negate the fact that he was born in South Africa.
Boer.
Oh my God, we get that, Shabaka. But he was born in Exania.
He is a Boer. As far as I'm concerned, the motherfucker was born in a pile of shit. Okay,
that pile of shit was in Exania, Shabaka. He was born in Exania, in a hospital in Exania. Is that correct or not correct?
We understand.
Where was he born, Shabaka? Where was he born, though, Shabaka?
In hell.
No. Where was he born, Shabaka?
He is a Boer.
That doesn't answer my question, Shabaka. Where was he born?
He is a Boer. He
oh
is
my God,
not.
Shabaka. I'm not going to do this with you tonight. I'm not going to do this with you tonight, Shabaka. Where was he born?
He is a Boer. Can we move on to the next subject, please?
Thank you, Michael.
Where was he born?
Yeah, which is the worst goddamn racist ass city down there, too. That in Johannesburg.
Still in Exania, though, Shabaka.
He is a fucking Boer. Tell him to
that
bring
was
his ass
born
out
in
here
Pretoria, South Africa.
Come out here, sit out here with me in this desert.
Why don't you go sit out in the Saharan desert? You always talk about sitting out in the desert, but I don't see you in the Kalahari desert. I don't see you in the Sahara desert. I don't see you in none of those deserts over there.
I've been in the Death Valley desert.
No, you ain't been in no Kalahari desert, and you ain't been in no Sahara desert. So no.
So what's your point, man?
My point is, you talk all this stuff about Africa, how you so African, but you ain't never set foot in Africa. You wasn't born in Africa.
Yeah, well, I sure as hell ain't no goddamn American. I'm a descendant of slaves like you.
If you're a descendant of slaves, then you're an American, Shabaka.
No, I'm not no goddamn American. I'm a diasporic African. It's because of
whatever
who the fucking Americans that we agree on is the police will not be murdering us. The police
well, denounce your citizenship, Shabaka. Since you're not an American, just denounce your citizenship. Claim that
I don't have no citizenship here.
Claim that you're Iranian. You don't have no citizenship in Africa either, Shabaka.
You don't have no citizenship here either. Look how they treat you in Colorado.
It's called the 14th Amendment.
Look how they treat you in Colorado. When you try to do good things for the people, man, look how they treat you.
That don't answer my question.
When you do good things for people that you do past, look how they treat you.
It don't matter how they treat us. It's still our goddamn country.
Okay, but look what they did to our
we were born here. We were still born here. We weren't born in Exania. We weren't born in a
but what does that mean if they still kill us? What does that mean? Why do they kill us? Riddle me that. Why do they kill us?
Oh God! You ask me questions, you don't give me time to answer. Then I give you an answer, and you still keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Why do they kill us?
Doing that.
Why do they murder unarmed black people? The Sandra Bland,
because they hate us. It's obvious.
Castillo.
God damn! What's the answer, Lady Train?
The answer is.
And then, not to mention, and not to mention what they did to Amador Diallo.
God damn it, Shabaka. We're not talking about Amadillo Diallo. Look, go ahead, Lady Che.
Elon Musk was born in.
And it was FBAs that was champion for him.
I'm out.
It wasn't diasporic Africans. It was FBAs that was out on the streets protesting the injustice that was brought against him.
Can I answer the
question? Go ahead.
George Floyd. Look what they did to Ezell Ford, man.
Stop asking that. Stop looking at this. Let Lady Che get her thought out. Go ahead, Lady Che.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. The question was, is Elon Musk a South African national, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a goddamn fool.
Shabaka, stop interrupting.
Stop. The answer is yes. Elon Musk was born in.
That's your opinion.
Stop. up.
It's not
I'm not.
the
I'm
opinion.
reading facts.
It's literally a
I'm
fact.
reading a fact.
It's not an opinion. It's a fact,
It's
Shabaki.
a fact. I'm reading it. I'm reading it. Jesus. South African. Are you Pretoria, South Africa? His father, Royal Musk, is South African national, and his mother, May Musk, is Canadian. He also has Canadian citizenship through his mother. Okay, so he is a South African national too. Okay, he has three three citizenships or national, whatever the fuck. You mean
nationalities?
Yeah, three. He's naturalized here in the United States, as well as Canada, and born and raised in South Africa as a South African national. That's where he starts, right? And he holds three citizenships, so he can maneuver wherever the fuck he wants to go. Okay. So the answer to the question was yes. Yes, South African national first. Then, by way of Canada, Canadian national. Then United States nationalized in the United States.
All right, thank you, lady.
You're welcome. Can we move forward now?
Yeah. I know we're Americans. No matter how they treat us, we're Americans.
Because why do you gotta keep going?
It's not me, it's the people in the chat.
Then stop it. Stop, everybody. Just let's move on to the next subject. Or else we'll never get to the next subject.
Another video to play on this very subject.
Contentious.
Rose, the lovely Rashonda in the building. We got 444-215 Lil. We got Precise Flow Arts in the building. Our good brother Marcel.
They have a dope podcast together. But I saw this on her Facebook page. So let's listen to this part that Donald Trump has to say. Because I saw this conference. I saw like the first 30 minutes of this conference. I missed this part. So I'm glad she was able to see it. Listen to this right here.
These that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now properly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as she wants, because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court. We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been.
So that was it. Now we're gonna go back through. That was that part I wanted to play it all the way through. Now I'm about to play it again, and we about to break it down part by part. All right.
Wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, and some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country.
So he's here right there. The 14th Amendment was for the babies of slaves. Let's break that down. This is why this is such a monumental decision. Well, not so much the decision, what Donald Trump said. right there was monumental, because the game in America, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, has been to act like Black Americans don't exist. And our only existence is to help for the plight of others. Have y'all noticed that?
Yep.
Myron Magnus, appreciate the super chat. He said, God bless the Supreme Court. Y'all notice that it's been all about wiping our existence out as a people, and not acknowledging us.
He's making it worse, but
what did I tell y'all at the beginning of the year? When Kendrick Lamar did this Super Bowl performance, it was all about nationalism. Did I not say that on this very channel?
You did.
This channel talks about what's going to happen, and not just when I pull out the cards. I didn't need the cards for that one. We go esoteric and we go niggateric too at the same time over here on this channel. We go esoteric and niggateric, nigga, terrestrial. What we just see in front of us without the cards. We go both. The Super Bowl is always telling you what the agenda for the year is. And it was very important this year with Donald Trump coming into the presidency. It was very, 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 very important that people know what the agenda is for the year. And the agenda is nationalism. Nationalism is the agenda. That's what it is. That's why you saw all those flags, those American flags, the stage set up as an American flag during the Super Bowl. Problem is, it was a lot of you dumb motherfuckers running around saying, they should have had Lil Wayne on instead. Instead of just watching the fucking message. They were trying to show you a message, nigga.
Right.
This is what this country's coming to right now. Straight up nationalistic. And this ruling by the Supreme Court and this Trump, what he's about is all nationalism.
If we do.
Then Lil Wayne turned out to release his album, and that shit was Lil Wayne's album was donkey shit.
Yeah, it was. That shit was.
I'd rather smell a donkey and an ox shit than listen to Lil Wayne's album any more again ever in life.
Yeah, I feel you on that. That's
okay.
Trash.
Y'all missed the whole point. They told you in the Super Bowl where this shit was going.
He got to get to that shit, Bucky.
So
hold your horses. He's about to provide you information when the slaves petitioned the hypocritical government of the United States to be second.
Right here,
subhuman lord and shit personnel of the U.S.
This is where we are right now in the country. And so Donald Trump did something that liberal and conservative media is generally scared to do. Acknowledge black people. Let's go to the next level why this is so important. This is important because
you need to see petitions. We need to see the slave ships.
How can I say this? Where we're headed, where we are right now with the birthright citizenship.
Yep.
America has a lot of people in. It's all about getting people on code with Americana. And that takes a while. That takes a couple decades for it to happen. And another reason why it's important that Donald Trump mentioned that is for blacks is because every civil rights move that this United States has made, going back to the original civil rights legislations, 1866, 67 to 68, 74, they were, for the most part, one by one rolled back. Or the aim was taken off of black people and put on everyone else. The 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, was for us.
Right.
They ended up using it for the Chinese. They ended up using it for because it's not just now with the Mexicans and no. This is something that all throughout the early part of the 20th century, the Irish got off on this.
Mm-hmm.
The Germans. All the former roaming tribes of Europe, all those Vandals, all those Visigoths, all those Huns, all those Vikings and Anglos and Saxons, They all came over here too.
Nasty, filthy savages.
A lot were here, but the majority came after slavery. The majority, remember that, people, the majority of the people in this country came after slavery. And they all benefited from this birthright citizenship too. Everything that this country has done for us ends up going to everybody. It's like, look, we can go down the list. Let me just give you a few examples. Let me give you a few examples of legislation meant for us that the Supreme Court ended up switching over for us, and what they didn't help us. First off, the 13th Amendment was the official abolishment of slavery, unless you got into a crime. See, the Supreme Court didn't touch that one. They didn't say, oh, no, that's unconstitutional. Slavery is slavery. Let's not have it at all. They let that one be. But when the 14th Amendment was also come out when it said guaranteed equal protection under the law,
so
due process for U.S.-born people.
So I'm pretty sure he's been.
There were the slaughterhouse cases of 1873.
So your point is kind of,
and it narrowed the interpretation.
I would work on some
of privileges and
California.
immunities.
This dude is cool. California,
and it weakened protections from states abusing this. Basically, what they did was, black folks was in these streets. We was making way, and white folks was jealous. They was hella just jealous.
But you can ask him next time he does a show. You want to call in and ask him that.
And so what they would do, the Klan and other networks of white supremacists, they would go around and hurt black people. They would harm black people. And the 14th Amendment was put in to protect black people nationally.
Man, so you appreciate you stopping by.
But what happened was the Louisiana law argued that privileges or immunities clause of the 14th Amendment only protected rights that came directly from the United States federal citizenship, not from state citizenship. So basically said, okay, you're federally citizens, but in this state, we don't see you that way. So we can control you how we want to control you. And the Supreme Court agreed with the state of Louisiana. So that's why to this day, when you see, remember, all history is a current event. That's why to this day, when you see Tamir Rice,
Black American,
Walter Scott,
not
Walter Scott. I'm drawing recipes. Walter Scott. I'm thinking about Eric Garner and his other brother with the last name Scott that ran away, got shot in the back in 2016. I forgot his name. Sandra Bland. It was this decision by the Supreme Court that made to where basically, you know, if the state doesn't deem it as a crime, and then we can't, if how you were handled, then the federal, basically the feds can't step in. So you see all throughout history, whenever they pass things, they always minimize it for us. You know, in the 15th Amendment of 1870, you see that it allowed basically black people were allowed to vote.
That was true. Then
allowed to be put in office.
A long time
in 1870, there were over 1,500 elected black officials across the United States, both locally, state, and federal. 1,500, just 5 years removed from slavery. And then the Supreme Court stepped in and was like, yeah, nah. If South Carolina, if Louisiana, if Mississippi, Arkansas, if they get to handle they voting the way we want to get handled. Again, they flipped it on us.
It's 11-14.
People act like, see, one thing that black people need to get very clear on is the 1960s civil rights legislation was not our first civil rights legislation. That's like the biggest lie of omission that they tell us. When you look at the 1960s civil rights legislations, they were just recapturing rights that we got in the 1860s.
Yeah.
most of those things that happened in the 60s civil rights legislation was basically giving us what we got 100 years ago. But what happened was when we got that,
answer your question.
The United States between 1870 and Woodrow Wilson 1915 rolled back all of those gains we got in Reconstruction. Black people could still work for the government in 1914. Black work environments, federal work environments weren't segregated in 1914. Woodrow Wilson did that in 1915 after we voted for him. The NAACP backed Woodrow bitch-ass Wilson. It was Woodrow Wilson. It was Theodore Roosevelt before him. It was McKinley, the one that got shot and killed.
But he's a historian.
President McKinley, the person that got shot and killed, I think it was 1901, if my memory serves me correctly. It was at the World's Fair in Minnesota.
I wasn't
Chat room, check my record. I don't know if it was 1901 or 1902. William McKinley got shot and killed at the World's Fair in Minnesota. But he was one of the few presidents that was trying to preserve whatever was left over from Reconstruction rights for black folks. His ass ended up dead.
Like he was a grown man in the 1960s. So yeah, you might have lived.
But from Rutherford B. Hayes on, Rutherford B. Hayes is who ended Reconstruction. From Rutherford B. Hayes to Woodrow Wilson, every president minus, and I only want to give McKinley a full pass, but for the most part, other than McKinley, they were trying to roll back the protections that we got, and they did.
Okay.
So we went from 1915, and then you got Red Summer 1919 when all those black cities got burned down, black towns on Red Summer 1919. Then you had Black Wall Street in 1922.
1921.
Don't ever just talk about Black Wall Street. There was a whole Red Summer a couple years before that. Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Detroit. Anywhere black people were, it was some burning and a turning going on.
About Dr. King.
So in the 60s,
brought up yet.
We started our civil rights movement again in the 20s. We talking about the W.B. Du Bois era, the the Asa Randolph era, the Ida B. Wells era. We started to basically re-get what we got in the 60s, 100 years later. And we're seeing the same thing happen right now. We're basically refighting right now, black folks. We're still trying to get our Freedmen's Bank that we got in 1865.
Yeah. And
that's what reparations is about.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get what was guaranteed to us in 1865.
Yeah.
The 1900s civil rights legislation wasn't nothing new. It was re-getting what we already got. Now, for the first time that I know of in recent history, Trump is acknowledging black Americans, which is something that he did before, the last time he was president. And he's talking about the open secret that we all understand. These rights were for black Americans.
Right.
And that's something that continually goes unacknowledged. Now, next question. Why is it, now that we got that history lesson, why is this important moving forward? It's important moving forward because people, Kamala Harris's family, abused the system.
Yep.
They come to America, have a child, and then have that child raised somewhere else. Kamala Harris spent high school in Canada.
Yep.
A lot with the game here in LA, and I'm from LA, so I got Mexican homies, so I know the game. This isn't something that they print in newspapers, but this is something that happens 60, probably 70% of the time. They're born here, and then they still get sent back home to Mexico or somewhere else
our house
to go to school, to live their life, know their family, know their heritage. Then they come back to America to work. Born here, raised in Mexico, educated in Mexico, come back here, probably sometime around high school, go back home, come back for college, and they're put into the American workforce. And you get people who, although they were born here, anchored here, they were still raised somewhere else. And here in LA, they become your police officers. They become your court clerks. They become your labor class, not just the cherry picking labor class, but the six-figure labor class that can make enough money to afford to buy a home and pay rent in an expensive city like LA. You want to know how black folks got gentrified out of Compton? You want to know how black folks got gentrified out of South Central by Mexicans? It wasn't by the Mexicans that was picking cherries. It was by their anchored children who now get the best jobs. We're talking about, I showed y'all that picture the other day. Let me see if I still have those pictures up here. These y'all, let me see if I still got them photos over here. Let me see if I found out right here. These y'all, I told y'all I was walking my dog, and this is a tree trimming service. They're paying the city is paying whoever this company is a lot of money as contractors to trim the trees. These jobs pay 70, 80, 90,000 a year, 100,000 a year. The supervisors 120, 130, 140,000 a year. These aren't people that just want to come to work. And they do want to come to work. But how many people born and raised here in the United States of America can use these jobs that pay 70, 80, 90,000 a year?
Right.
Because when they get the contracts, they hire each other. That's why this is so important. Yeah, they were born here. Yeah, they're citizens. But when they grow up and they get city contracts, look at who they hire. They're not hiring Americans. And no, you cannot call yourself an American if you're waving the flag of another nation. I don't give a fuck where you was born. That's highly offensive. You're not an American if you're waving a Mexican flag. No. Now, my Mexican homies that wave American flags that was born here, yeah, y'all American too. You proud of the United States of America, and we don't have to agree politically. We can disagree on a lot of things, but if you waving that red, white, and blue, and you was born here, I ain't got no issue with you.
I could care the fuck.
The laws are the laws. The laws are the laws. And this law looks like it's going to be law moving forward. If you were already born here and your parents weren't, then you good. But when Trump, whenever, and it looks as if what Trump is aiming towards, when I heard him talk more about it, he's aiming towards your parents got to at least be documented. They may not be fully naturalized, but they got to at least be on record here, invested in the United States of America before you become a citizen.
A couple of things.
And I'm in agreement with that. Trump is also making it to where when they send money to other countries, they're going to have to pay a tax on sending money outside of this country. And that's another thing that happens. When people that aren't born here aren't vested in the United States, what do? Whether they're Mexican or whether they're Nigerian, whether they're Turkish, whatever they are, what do y'all do? You send money back to the old country. How does that help Americans? They say, oh, we pay taxes, and you send the money right back to Honduras. How does that help us?
It doesn't.
Trump is now talking about putting a tax on that money, which is a good thing. Because again, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Hillary fan. I'm not an Obama fan. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I'm for damn sure an American. That's for damn sure. I'm not aligned with either political party. But I am aligned with what's the best interest for the United States of America, because I have nowhere else I can go. I believe in reciprocity, for real. My favorite city is reciprocity. I like that city more than I like LA. I like reciprocity more than I like Inglewood, more than I like New York, Miami, Vegas. Nigga, reciprocity, that's my favorite city, goddammit. And if I can't go to where you are and anchor a child and get resources from the government, hey, same. Dominoes, nigga. You don't put that. Don't let it be a 5 on this edge, a 5 on that edge, and you go for 10. You over here like 10, nigga. I got big 10 in my hand. 15, motherfucker. And don't let a 6 on one end be there, a 4 on the other end, nigga, and a 5 on this end. And nigga, what? Duh, bitch. I play dominoes, nigga.
Right.
What's good for you is good for me. Follow that train.
6'4".
Mexico is beautiful. I've been down there a few times.
10.
You mean tell me I can't go down to Mexico
It's
and set up shop and get government benefits?
That's what I just said.
Oh, then you can't get them here. It's simple.
He said,
So you can get benefits here in the United States. Go back to Mexico, and since your parents were born in Mexico, you can still get Mexican benefits. So you can double dip.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back to Dominican, Puerto Rico, United States. You can go back to the Dominican.
You're patriotic.
You can go back to Honduras or Colombia.
Every time somebody that's black,
you get double
patriotic, you
benefits.
Call them my Uncle Sambo.
You can go back to Persia.
No, I think this is what he's saying.
Place
and get double benefits.
Called Folk.
I can't.
San Quentin and Soledad. Yes, those places are in California. No, Shabaka, I just noticed.
That's my thing. Reciprocity.
Black.
It ain't about racism.
Colleges,
it ain't about none of that.
Or their nationality.
It's about if there's a rule, let that be the rule.
Call them my Uncle Sambo.
Now, if other countries start lightening up their borders and saying, "Hey, you Americans can come here, and you guys can set up shop, and we have money to help you Americans set up shop," then I'll be like, "Hey, America, man, that's cool. Shit, oh, y'all want to bring some people here? All right, I'll go over there and set up shop, but I can't do it." Reciprocity is my favorite city on the planet.
Yeah.
The city of reciprocity. That is my favorite city.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I ain't racist. I don't believe in denying nobody nothing. Two-way streets. I don't like one-way streets. The Moments told you. I don't want to end up like the Moments. You know what I mean? The Moments told you. On a lonely highway, love is only on a two-way street. The Moments told you. You dig?
mm-hmm.
You dig?
Yeah.
The Moments tried to tell y'all, I found love on a two-way street, but I lost it on a lonely highway. You lose love when it's not a two-way street. That's why there's no love here in America now. The love is not on a two-way street. The love is lost because it's on the lonely highway.
Love on a two-way street.
Love is on a two-way street.
And lost it on a lonely highway.
losing love because it's on a lonely highway, one direction, one way. Not to be confused with one way, because what happened to a lot of my Mexican citizens, all that waving your flag and all that shit, that means you didn't listen to one way. You didn't play your cards right. You did not play your cards right.
Yeah.
If you play your cards right, if you played your cards right, everything's
What he
right.
said.
But you can't play the card of the flag of another country in this country and expect people in that country to side with you so you can be an immigrant, be a citizen of this country while you still repping that country.
That's
You
the
see
whole
how
point,
I go?
Shabaka. That's what he's saying.
You're not playing your cards
That's
right.
exactly what he's saying.
You want
There are
citizens.
people
Listen
for
to me.
granted
This
in
is not
America.
hate.
Yes, Shabaka, that's true.
If you're gonna play your cards right, at least wave the red, white, and blue. Like them people that came in from the Taliban, all them Taliban refugees back in the day. Them niggas was waving USA, nigga. Don't be
It
the
wasn't
Iron
wearing
Sheik.
no
That's why they hated the Iron Sheik
no
in wrestling.
Afghanistan.
Don't be the Iron Sheik. Remember, he was the villain in
It was
WWF.
waving U.S. flags.
The villain was the Iron Sheik because he was raising somebody else's flag. The Mountie with the Canadian flag. This is America.
Right.
Y'all played. Look, I keep telling y'all, Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance told y'all, this is a time of extreme nationalism. This is a time of extreme nationalism. And you're not going to get the sympathy of the nationals with a foreign flag. You need this flag for that to pop off. Let's go even further. Before I go further, I will open up the phone line a little bit. Before I go further, we're only 1 week away, 8 days a week, for the beginning of, we're starting Sunday, July. They weren't considered white back then. They were ethnics. The Irish, the Italians, the Greeks, these were all ethnics. They were not classified as white until they weren't integrated into whiteness until World War II. World War II is when they started being seen as white. But before that, they had too much ethnic in them. So they became citizens based off of birthright citizenship, not because white folks loved them. And they turned around and formed unions, and they kept us out of the police departments, out of the fire, out of construction, and all that stuff. Passport King 77 says, facts, 1866 Civil Rights Act was the first one, right? See, civil rights isn't talked about in the right context. We always hear about civil rights from the context of the 60s. We went through Jim Crow, and we finally got rights in the 1960s. No, we got mostly all the rights we needed by 1870.
Tell him to tell
That's a fact, nigga.
LA.
Look it up.
I'm pretty sure he's had.
And look at what black people did
LAC.
between 1868 and 1877. We had our own towns, our own schools.
You act like he's not in LA. Like
we had our own
life.
Churches, our own systems. We invented the whole thing called paramedics in Pittsburgh in the 60s. We were fine. Like my family, before Reconstruction, my family had 900 acres during Reconstruction in Indiana. And part of the reason why a lot of my family had to start moving and into Michigan and into Chicago and other places was because of the white resentment during and after Reconstruction. Their businesses that they had, those farms that they had, white folks got together and stopped buying from the black merchants. And my family was never, this particular line of my family was free during slavery. They were never enslaved. So they were handling commerce in 1830s, 1840s, 1850s, 1860s, 1870s. They were doing their shit, man. But it was during Reconstruction and post-Reconstruction that resentment towards black wealth, they stopped. The citizens got on code with each other, the white citizens, and stopped dealing with black merchants, even the ones who weren't enslaved. And the government got on code and rolled our shit back. And then people got to come to the United States of America. When we got all of our provisions rolled back, these laws were passed for us. The Supreme Court continually found ways to cut us at our knees and undermine what those effects meant for us while opening the door to how this stuff affected immigrants.
That's it. Weird.
So remember, at this channel, we don't talk hate, we don't talk racism, we don't talk divisiveness, we just talk turkey. And if the real is divisive, then God damn it, you should have done something before it got this bad. Okay? If the real is divisive to you, where was you at? Where was your antennas when black folks were screaming this shit out loud? Where was you at? If you weren't doing shit before things got this bad, then shut it up. It's that simple. Shut up. You can't now be part of the Justice League now that's coming your way. I don't want to hear you. Steve Louise said, I just wanted to state how this ruling is a big blow to corporate personhood, which is a corporate. That's a great point. And the drop 5 to say that, that's a great fucking point. I'm glad you said that, Steve Louise. 6812. Thank you for making that comment, because you just hit on another point that I was just getting ready to get to. But thank you for this comment. Most civil rights legislation don't help neither black people nor immigrants. They help corporations to fuck all of us over. Especially what this comment just said, corporate personhood. Most civil rights legislation, both in the 1860s civil rights legislation and also in the 1960s civil rights legislation, most of that legislation helps corporations more than people. And that's the quiet thing that they don't want to talk about. That's how corporations got to be where they are right now, where they get to be treated as citizens, but they don't get punished like citizens. Let me give you an example about let's go back to the 14th Amendment and how this is a blow to corporations if Democrats or Republicans decide to in the future move on corporations. It says, the 14th Amendment says, no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or pursuit or property without process of law, due process of law, equal protection. This is how that helps corporations. In 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad, the Supreme Court accepted, without formally ruling, that corporations are persons under the 14th Amendment. The result, corporations being using the 14th Amendment to challenge taxes, regulations, and state laws. So that's one way that, a state passed a particular law, like here in California. A lot of your state laws towards emissions or whatever, when it comes to different things, Donald Trump's been able to strike a lot of that stuff down. The due process law In 1905, Lochner versus New York, it struck down a law limiting bakery workers to 60 hours a week. The court ruled that it violated employers' rights to contact. It's basically talking about saying that you basically corporations
I believe it.
can basically violate you because they're not a corporation, they're a person. See, a person can't do these. Two people can have issues and go back and forth. A corporation is supposed to be held to a higher standard. But since it's a corporation, and the Supreme Court in 1868 said corporations are people, it lowers the burden of what corporations should have. And when it comes to Title VII in 1964, basically what it did was that allowed corporations and also white folks to start doing the whole reverse discrimination thing. And basically Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act is what they're using to target DEI. You got Citizens United. I remember this one. The whole Citizens United ruling, calling money free speech. So the reason why Elon Musk gets to openly spend hundreds of millions of dollars on elections, that's because of Citizens United. It's the corporations of people. So since corporations of people and speech, corporations can go around as much money as they want because of speech and their persons. ADA, so many different ways corporations have used these civil rights laws that were guaranteed to black people for themselves. And that's at the behest of all citizens, no matter what your color is. So for this first time that I've seen a sitting president remind the world of what laws were meant for black people. You ain't gotta like a motherfucker to like what a motherfucker does every now and again. You ain't gotta like Trump. Lord knows I don't. But I think that's a funny ass character right there. He's funny as hell. I do think that. But you ain't gotta like him to understand when you get a political victory by default. Because that law, the whole birthright citizenship thing, the 14th Amendment, is something that's been used to put black Americans further and further and further behind the 8-ball. What's up, chat room? Donna C, thank you for joining. Nandi, everybody up in here. Nene, everybody. I can't get to everybody's name. K-Mac, Hula Gang, appreciate all y'all for joining. So,
yeah, that's correct, Mike.
That's where we are. And black people, that's why, look, we got to continue to sit this out. Does this mean we should just go ahead and run and endorse Trump? No. We got a de facto win just shutting the fuck up. Think about that for a second. We got a win that helps us out by somebody that don't like us, hates us. And if you think that he likes you, then ask yourself who the fuck Stephen Miller is and why is he that close to Trump? If you don't think Trump is racist, then just look up Stephen Miller. He's the right-hand man to Trump. The most extreme vile racist. This motherfucker's a Bull Connor level racist. But it doesn't matter. Because racists do things all the time that to be beneficial to us. It don't matter that I don't like him. It don't matter that he's a racist. It don't matter none of that stuff. And because the other thing black folks try to do is, well, he did something good for us. That means he ain't a racist. Shut up. God damn, y'all niggas sound like the people. My master plantation bigger than your master plantation. That's who he is. He did something nice for us. That means he ain't racist. No, nigga. He did something that benefits his political agenda. Political American that birthright citizenship is bullshit, and it should be ended. And he ran for that. He got all them white votes that Trump got. A part of that birthright citizenship. That's what I do. Got to give him. This is what he said he wanted to do, right? This is what Trump said he wanted to do. So this is one more thing that he gets that he set forward on his campaign. This is what his people wanted. This is what they voted him in for. This was part of his mandate. Because it's a lot of disenfranchised white people who are now looking at immigrants as the people that took something from them. That's why we got to just shut the fuck up, back up, and let them fight.
He's on the course, but he does have a.
This is a default. What happens in court? If you don't show up, a default judgment. Oh, Dana Dursey, I appreciate the cash app.
This issue for your goddamn arrest.
This is what they call a default judgment in our favor. How many more default judgments can we get if we just shut the fuck up?
Tons.
Williams, I appreciate the cash app. Chubby, appreciate the cash app, my brother. So this is what it is. This is a win by default. That does not mean support Trump.
Right.
What it does mean is shut the fuck up.
Right.
And see how many more of these default judgments we can get.
Right.
Y'all want to call in? I'm open the phone line real quick. 323-744-7425. I'll take just a couple calls. 323-744-7425. Don't take too long to call in because I will shut this shit down if I don't get a call.
Huh?
He's in Baldwin Hills. I can tell by his prefix.
You think he's in Baldwin Hills? Said he's in Inglewood. He knows people in Baldwin Hills, but I don't think he's in Baldwin Hills.
Yeah, but they're right next door to each other. You know, it's like Aurora and Denver.
Yeah.
Baldwin Hills and Inglewood. Because as soon as you leave Baldwin Hills, you're in Inglewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my brother and aunt live there.
Yeah, both of you and Lady Chad have people that live there.
I never called out. I've been to that once.
All right. What are your thoughts, Lady Che, on the Supreme Court clears path for Trump to end birthright citizenship?
Well,
What's next?
It's good for other states, but it's like we still get the fucking we still get people that will probably come here, have their children still be citizens. It doesn't matter from the article that I was reading said after January 20th. Well, we're already in fucking damn near. But we're already in July, damn near. You know? So of their lives.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. But what's important though is if he really wants to be a dick about some shit, because he's trying to make a point about these sanctuary cities.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could defund all the shit, which there's a lot of things that people, the most vulnerable, kind of depend on, and that would fall to the fault of the Denver mayor, the color of governor is the governor of the state. However, he's, you know what I mean? The mayor is the one that has the one that put the sanctuary city suggestion on previously. You know what I mean? And they've been rocking with it since. And even though Polis is kind of like, yeah, I don't want no problems, you know, with the fucking Republican president. They want no problems.
He's secretly cooperating with ICE.
He's cooperating, right? Whereas the Denver mayor is still bucking the system, and then you got protesters, activists out there contributing to the nonsense. But you got city council that's holding the purse that runs the nonsense. So he's complicit in not, you know, just abiding by the motherfucking the rules and just saying, oh, well, you know, we're in Colorado, we're welcoming the state. It's good to be welcoming to everybody and their motherfucking mama, but you can't be welcoming to the motherfucking people that you officially allowed to be fucking neglected, stepped on, gentrified, pushed over, denied fucking services. You know what I mean? Have them do hoops and loops while other people get to defund other people get to other races and newcomers or whatever the fuck they want to call them get to bankrupt our indigent hospital, bring certain illnesses because the children aren't vaccinated, which causes fucking measles and all kind of extra shit that they didn't have before. You know what I mean? And come into the system, and then come while they're pregnant, so they can have babies here. Or not, maybe that wasn't the intention, but they came pregnant. Some came pregnant, overly pregnant.
That was definitely the intention.
You know what I mean? And everybody knows, even it doesn't matter what fucking country you're in. When he got elected, before he even got elected, motherfuckers are still coming talking about they hope Trump will let him stay. And when he said he wasn't going to do that, it's almost like they didn't believe anything that he said that whole time he was campaigning, despite all the motherfucking attempts on his life, him going through court, becoming a fucking felon, right? All the shit, all the stuff he said. It's almost like nobody believed the fucking thing he said he was gonna do, or that he wanted to do. It's all fun and games until he got in there, got the little black book and said, fuck it, this is what I'm gonna do. And he did everything, pretty damn near everything he said he was gonna do, with the help of some motherfuckers we didn't think was qualified or capable of the madness. Yeah. And here they are. Look at them shining, everybody. Like everybody thought Hexworth, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Hextech.
Yeah, is a fucking drunk. But look, he doesn't look drunk now. Because he's over there fucking, you know, acting like how he's acting. Look at Rubio, right? Look at that fucking lady that lies to us all the time. What is her name? The speaker. The blonde.
Pam Bondi.
Right. You know what I mean? She's complicit too, right? But everything he said he's gonna do, is sold it, and he's been doing it. We already knew he was a fucking liar or over exaggerator or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We already knew he was gonna do that. We already knew he was gonna.
You got jab cracking up.
We already knew he was gonna fucking issue a million motherfucking tariffs that was ultimately gonna fuck us in the end because he exposed how weak we are really, where we don't have any. We depend on other states for certain things. Other states depend on us. Infrastructure is all separated and amongst like some people got power grids that send power to other states further away from their own state. Some people, you know, how much water do we send out? Water from us.
We supply Shabaka with energy.
Right.
In the whole state of California, especially Southern California.
Right. We do water. We got water to what? How many states? 4?
Yeah, at least 7.
7. Right. Water. Okay. Right. Yep. Electricity.
Steals the water from the Colorado River.
We supply y'all with water.
We supply y'all with water. Amongst other states. Right. Yep. If we run out of water, you run out of water.
It deals just with that, with the water. If you can't,
if we run out of water, you don't get no water.
If there's no snow up in them hills, Shabaka, you run out of water too.
Yeah. All the states do get water from the Colorado fucking river will run out. We don't get it. You don't get it.
Yeah.
We don't have it. You don't have it.
Yep.
We can't just give everything away, but we will watch. You know what I mean? To our detriment. You know, just like other states did have the the fund electric. Like what was Canada?
Yeah.
Said, I don't give a fuck. We'll just shut off the lights to other states.
Yep.
You hear me? Do your worst. So shit like that. It was Canada, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a country of Canada. Yep.
Right. And what do you say? I'm gonna issue tariffs. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Him threatening fucking Mexico. Him doing all this extra shit. They want to play peacemaker in the Middle East or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not the Middle East. Whatever it's called over there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to allowing fucking Russia to talk about what they can do over there in that section of the world. And this motherfucker got an active war going on in his own country.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That he's not even fucking trying to be peaceful in. He's blowing up motherfucking kindergartens and shit. He don't give a fuck about people.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Whereas these one whole fucking area is starving to death. Right? They can't even get food or whatever. It doesn't even fucking matter. But everybody wants to be peacemakers when it suits them, only if it benefits him.
Yeah.
Right? All the shit he does has to be of a benefit to him. Look at the fucking plane from Qatar.
Yeah.
Right? As a gift. I thought that was illegal.
Yeah.
I thought that was a form of bribery.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Look at all the money fucking stupid face Musk put into him.
Yeah.
Isn't that bribery too on some level? He bought a fucking whole election.
Yeah.
Right? Because according to him, he wouldn't have won if it wasn't for all that money.
Yep.
And everybody knows money wins elections, right?
It's very true, Michael. He said America has been involved in more foreign conflicts since 2001.
Right. It isn't money that places people. Isn't what money that places people in power, right? That's what wins the elections. You got whoever raises the most money gets the most recognition.
Yeah.
They get the most airtime. Bam, they're in position.
Yeah.
Right? He said he was going to do it. If you don't remember the first time or what happened, they put him in office again, and everybody's acting like, oh my god, Trump's going to take this, and that. Trump's taking everything. Who's going to do it?
Yeah.
He made a whole motherfucking team to allegedly cut.
What are you doing, Shabaka?
You hear me? But what did it end up cutting? Jobs, services, FEMA, fucking I don't know what else. How's these people really making it through these hurricanes and tornadoes and shit without FEMA? They're not. They're just out there just redoing it. Like FEMA didn't never happen. Right? They just let that go, right?
They give them $750.
But they don't even give them that. It doesn't even exist. It's gone.
Yeah, it's bankrupt.
You know what I mean? It's gone. You can't get shit. They don't answer the phone no more. Because he said so. Right?
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Then, we live in a state where all this shit is, all these atrocities and fucking ideations and lifestyles and fucking whatever is an acceptable thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, they'll welcome any and everybody to breach the motherfucking borders and come into our area without asking permission or not even knowing that they're coming, right? Just get dropped off and shit. They get food, fucking a nicer apartment than I got.
Yeah.
Right? They don't even have fucking data for where they put them at.
Yep.
They got sponsored. They got the fast track system and nobody knows where they went. Even though they know exactly where the fuck they put them because they gave them money cards and they get money every month and a place to live. Okay? Without all the shit that a motherfucker like me has to do just to turn on $200 a month. They're getting way more than what a motherfucker like me has to get. What did it start out like, Jesse? Like what, $800 a month or some shit?
Initially over here?
Yeah, when they were getting it and place to live, right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Right? Brand new people. Right? They were afraid to be cold. Because they come from tropical places.
Yeah.
The cold was gonna kill them. Remember?
Yeah.
We can't be outside. And yet they're outside fucking letting their young daughters prostitute themselves to do whatever to the unhoused that's perverted or whatever. Some of them motherfuckers just do whatever, right? They don't give a fuck that the little girl's like 12.
Yeah.
She walking like she's 16, 18, 30.
That's how they doing their home.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got little kids out there begging for fucking dollars.
Yeah.
And you got a motherfucker like me, like, go ask your motherfucking mama.
Right.
Do you have a
Americans
dollar?
pay taxes to
Where's
the
your
government,
dollar? Can I have it?
and they don't get free health care. Exactly.
You get? They live in better apartments, like across the street. Like when I went to go try to find out what was going on with the apartments across the street, like I went to the work.
Yeah.
Because they're brand new, right? And all the field mice came over to our buy section. So I was kind of curious. And what they say, looked at me exactly, said I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Yet, they right around in the back of the motherfucking complex, there's whole shitloads of fucking Venezuelans living 7 deep and comfortably in 2-bedroom apartments that you gotta have $3,800 for 3 months, right? $38,000 just to qualify your bank account. That's that for 3 months, just a social story, right?
Yeah.
So for that to happen, in my mind, it's robbing season. Where the fuck did you get that? Because you're not from here, right? Y'all motherfuckers really too comfortable, pregnant, chilling on a couch, clean carpet, washer and dryer, fucking access in your apartment. You know what I mean? You just over there chilling, everybody's fucking half dressed and kicking it. Driving trucks, but you know goddamn well they didn't have them. They got here 2 months ago. 18 months ago when I first came here.
Yeah.
Right? But let me ask them about it. No. We don't have people. We don't have illegal immigrants living here. Fucking yes, you do. I'll take you right there, show you. Because the door is wide open. It's not like I'm spying. They're chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas a motherfucker like me live in an apartment with no washer and dryer at all in the building is across the street.
Yeah, they never fixed that shit.
Right? No working AC. Random fucking field mice here and there whenever the fuck they want to show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Upstairs neighbors probably got roaches.
Yeah.
Instead of occasional antiquonauts.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right, Michael. Cash payment reparations.
A receivership because these motherfuckers want it over there a couple buildings over, having to own the same buildings that these motherfuckers were kidnapping when they kidnapped
deal, man, was Roosevelt. The new deal was Roosevelt.
And motherfucking white people snitching on look. Trump, what did Trump say? Aurora was number 1.
Yep.
To clean up, right?
Yep.
And what happened? They shut them fucking shits down after they kidnapped that couple.
Yep.
In the same complex, right?
Yep.
All they let them go to their apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And then think nothing was gonna happen. Come on now, cuz that's stupid, right? All of a sudden, here they go, ICE raids, right?
Yeah,
operational. Shut down. My apartment is like blocks away, happens to be under the same receivership as these motherfuckers' apartment.
Yep.
It took fucking 2 months to get that shit organized?
Yep.
Where's the motherfucker that took the loan out?
He's in the Bahamas.
He's in the Bahamas. With an active warrant for Colorado. Right? Took the money and ran.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. It's whatever. Right? But my voucher is way too, like the rent here is way too expensive for these motherfuckers. This place needs to be $400 motherfucking dollars.
This is a straight dollar.
$400 back then. I used to want to live in these motherfuckers. I used to think them upstairs apartments with the little doors, the glass doors and shit were the shit. Right? I used to walk by this motherfucker all the time. Think I'm gonna live there. $495. I got that. $50 deposit. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And here we go now. 2025. This motherfucking rent $1,700.
Yeah, they out there rabbit ass mine.
$1,700.
California started.
No washer and dryer. No dishwasher. No working
service over time. Yep.
Yeah. Man, it's fucking stupid. So and on my I only got 2 windows. One of them faces a fucking dumpster. Are you serious? Like, for real? These motherfuckers living good and there's no transparency, no data for where they went. And I've been asking questions. Where the fuck did they go?
Yeah.
You know? Where did everybody else go? Oh, they moved on. Sure they did. Yeah, to the nice apartments across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're going skating at the new skating rink.
Yeah. At the Stanley.
Right? The same individuals get on the bus and act ignorant when they see me and they won't move because they're pregnant and got fucking 4 kids with them.
Yep.
And a husband. They all look young, like fucking 19, 20 years old.
Yep, that's the same ones.
Right? they got an attitude or whatever. I'm standing in line doing my shit.
Shout out to all the viewers.
Trying
Make
to
sure
get
y'all
my
like and
assistance.
subscribe to Frontline Black News.
I stand in line trying to get my assistance. What happens? They go and talk over me. They don't see black people.
Yes.
All they see is them. They're rude as fuck. They don't give a fuck. And they feel entitled. So when they get fucking caught up, they want to cry and be like, oh, my feelings are separated. Hey, man, come home and say you can go. And if you love them so much and you're worried about motherfuckers getting deported, check it out.